am Emily McQuiggan. I'm the teen programmer at Frederickson Library, and I'm here today for another episode of QuaranTEEN Talk. I am joined as always by Deanne Williamson, Emily Young, and we also have two special guests with us tonight. We have Jessica Woolridge and we have Theo Heil. So welcome everybody. We are excited to have everyone here tonight. We're going to start things off with a little quiz. So let's open that up. All right, can you guys see that?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
So every year librarians celebrate Banned Book Week. It's usually the last week of September, sometimes going a little into October. So we're a couple weeks late with this, but I thought it'd be fun to take this banned books quiz from the New York Public Library. So we'll see how well the five of us know our banned books.
Oh gosh.
So you can play along with us if you want. You can just, shout the answers to your computer screen, or you can go to the New York Public Library's website to take the quiz on your own. All right, so The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger isn't just one of the most beloved 20th century novels, it's also one of the most challenged books across the United States. Why is it challenged? Is it profanity, obscenity, negative activity, or all of the above?
What would negative activity mean?
My guess is the way that Holden behaves.
Okay.
He's not a model of teenage behavior.
Yeah.
I would say all of the above.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it would, yeah.
Correct.
Pass right away. Oh, yay.
So yeah, it looks like only one case focused on the negative activity. Doesn't look like they specified.
That's funny. Negative activity.
All right, so
Wow.
in 2018, what was the most challenged book in the United States? And so we've got Drama by Raina Telgemeier, which is an excellent graphic novel if you have not read it. We have George by Alex Gino, another excellent book. That one is just a novel. I Am Jazz, which is a great picture book. I believe there's also a young adult and adult version of it. And did she have a TV show for a while?
Yeah. I think it's still on.
Yeah, and then we also have 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. Some of you might know it better from the Netflix show. So which?
I don't know.
I'm torn between George and I Am Jazz. I feel like it's one of them.
I'm trying to think of the year too.
Yeah.
2018.
So it's 2 years ago.
Thinking my gut's telling me George.
I don't know.
I think we're
Because
gonna.
I think 13 Reasons Why came out earlier than that.
Yay.
So it was George, according to the American Library Association. It was challenged and banned in multiple schools because it was believed to encourage children to clear browser history and change their bodies.
Oh.
Obviously, we do not think that. We have George on our shelves at the library. I think I can speak for many of us librarians at Frederickson that we love the book George. It is a wonderful book for everyone to read.
I think it's funny that their problem was it encourages kids to clear their browser history. It's okay.
Like, what? Ugh, they'll have problems. People have problems with everything.
Yeah. All right, so this one,
Ooh.
back in the 2000s, or the aughts, I guess maybe it could be called, which was banned most frequently. Do we have Judy Blume's Blubber, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, The Bluest Eye, or The Kite Runner?
I mean, I feel like it's Harry Potter.
Yeah.
I think it may be Harry Potter.
I think so.
That's what I'm going for. I don't know if.
So all of the Harry Potter books did make it onto the top 100 most banned or challenged list during that decade. People were very anti-Harry Potter for a while there.
Crazy.
All right, so you might think that literary classics would be protected from challenges, but it is not so. George Orwell's Animal Farm has been challenged. So why was it challenged? Was it, people were unhappy about the politics. It encourages animal cruelty, too violent for children, or it mentions alcohol.
I would say A. I know it was very political.
Yeah.
That's what I'm leaning
I don't
toward.
remember any violence.
I know, I kind of don't either.
It was the politics.
Wow.
They called it a problem book because Orwell was a communist. Um,
Oh.
so, which is interesting since it's a scathing critique of Lenin and Stalin. So
Wow. I remember reading that.
yeah, I think I read it in like 9th grade.
Yeah, it was like 9th grade, somewhere around there.
Yeah. All right. So which was not a reason to challenge To Kill a Mockingbird. So it's not this one. So it deals with race. Title is misleading. It is not about mockingbirds. Complaints called it a filthy, trashy novel. Some worried the book would cause psychological damage or all of the above. So which was not a reason to challenge it.
I would be shocked if anybody called it a filthy, trashy novel, but that's just me.
Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe not because the book isn't about mockingbirds.
Yeah, that would be funny. I don't know.
I don't.
So as far as we know, no one has complained about the scarcity of mockingbirds in Harper.
Sure, someone has.
Somebody.
I'm sure some high schoolers had to read it somewhere.
Yeah.
Have you complained about it not being about mockingbirds? Let us know in the comments. All right, so which graphic novel was the most challenged book in 2014? Because complaints that includes gambling, offensive language, and a political viewpoint. So we have Fun Home by Alison Bechdel. Some of you might know Alison Bechdel from the phrase the Bechdel test, which is a way of seeing how representation is in a movie with women. We've got Blankets by Craig Thompson, Mouse by Art Spiegelman, and Persepolis by Marjane Satrapi. I'm sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly.
Oh my.
I'm pretty sure it's Persepolis because I remember reading that during a banned books week.
Oh, I have no idea.
I mean, it does contain all of those things. So
let's see.
I'm just assuming.
Rio was right. So Persepolis is her award-winning memoir of growing up in Iran. It is an excellent book. I know we have the full copy because sometimes they split it into two, but we have the full copy at the library. They also made it into an excellent animated movie. And I believe we also have a copy of that. So another banned book that would be great for teens to check out. It is in the teen section. And our last question, how many book challenges were made in the United States in 2018? So we have 273, 347, 195, or 354.
I mean, I kind of just want to go with like the highest number. Probably, I don't know. But it might not be. I mean, there's like a difference of like 7.
They're all very specific numbers.
They are. I don't know.
Any of them?
Lost on this one.
I have no idea. It's just, yep.
So 347 was the challenges that were reported to the ALA Office for Intellectual Freedom. So it doesn't mean that those were the only challenges. It's just those were the ones that ALA was able to collect the data on.
Wow. So
there's the banned book quiz. I hope you all check out some of the books we talked about in this. And like I said, we have a lot of them in the library. We probably have all of the books that were talked about here in the library. And we just encourage you to read widely and all different topics. So that is our banned book quiz. Thanks for doing the quiz with me, guys.
That was fun. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. I think we got all of them right, though, right?
Yeah,
I'm really proud of us.
We're kind of amazing.
We did better than the boy band one.
Yeah, definitely.
That's for sure.
I think though, working around books, we have a better idea of.
That's true.
We don't work around boy bands usually.
Yeah, I mean, I wish.
Yeah. But so, Deanne, would you like to go first? And
oh my, okay,
that you
sure.
brought for us today.
Yeah. So I try to have a list of different like areas of my life. So I'll start with books because that's obviously what we're doing. But I read Darius the Great is Not Okay back in the summer. And I know I'm late to the game. I know I've talked about it here on this before, but I loved it. I read it in like a day. It's such an awesome book. And then I did one of those things where I just like, Googled whether there was going to be a second one. And I saw that there was going to be a second one and it was released in August. It's very exciting. I put it on pre-order. So the second one is Darius the Great Deserves Better. And honestly, again, I read this in about 2 days or something. I fell in love with the characters. I really rooted for Darius the whole time. Basically, the story is that he is a teen who is trying to figure out who he is. He's living in America, but his family is from Iran, and he's also diagnosed with depression. So he's just trying to like navigate all of these different avenues. And he travels to Iran in the first book, and that kind of changes his perspective on like a ton of things. And then the story picks up when I think the year after he gets back from Iran. And I'm already hoping that they do a third one because I have questions and I want them answered. But yeah, this is a really great book and a super, I don't know, just interesting perspective, especially for those of us who are American and don't have that ethnicity questioning kind of part of us. So yeah, I really like that one. Something I've been watching is really kind of lame, but I feel like around these times we need something to sort of like turn our brains off a little bit with what we're dealing with. So I needed some kind of show that I could just turn on and just kind of have in the background. And for me, that is The Home Edit. I don't know if anyone's watched it. It's kind of lame, but it's about organization in your house, which I am not the most organized, but I really like to watch other people organize things. So basically there's these two women and they go into people's houses and organize things. And it's just really calming. It's stressful at first when they show the messy closet or whatever, and then they like totally transform. It like feels like a weight has been lifted off because you're like, look how nice. Now just don't look around your own house and like feel bad, because that's kind of what I did. But yeah, it's just kind of one of those shows that you can turn on and I don't know, turn your brain off a little bit. Something I've been listening to is I'm a big Broadway fan. So I've been listening to the Mean Girls soundtrack a lot. I haven't been able to see that show. It's on my list for when theater opens up again, which hopefully is soon. I mean, it's 2021, but still, that soundtrack, even though I haven't seen the show in person, is just so fun to listen to. It's hilarious, especially if you've seen the movie. I'm pretty sure everyone has.
Like, does it closely follow the movie, or is it?
It does.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, there's all the jokes. Is
there like a whole song about making fetch happen?
No, but it's in there. It's in there. It's a fun song soundtrack to listen to in the car and sing along to, which of course I do. And then the last thing is just something to do. So I know I've talked with a few of you before about this, but I love going to Meadowbrook Gords fields in Carlisle, and I've been a lot this year. And it's just, if you're looking for something to do that's out of the house, something out in nature, it is a humongous sunflower fields. And you can pick as many sunflowers as you want for free.
Oh, wow.
And so it's just a nice place to take pictures. You can take Instagram pictures and, cut some sunflowers for free. They have a little store where they sell things, which is fun to look at. But yeah, if you just need something to do for the weekend, I don't know how long they'll be blooming for. So maybe that's something to look into. I follow them on Facebook, so you can check that out. But yeah, that's it.
That's excellent. Thank you for sharing this, Deanne.
You're welcome.
Jess, do you want to go next?
I could, absolutely. I'll try to break mine down the way Deanne broke hers down.
You don't have to.
Start with books for me, I've already talked to Emily Young about this extensively, but I'm in the midst of Enola Holmes and the series. It is adorable. That was all kicked off because of the Enola Holmes film that they made for Netflix. And I didn't even know about the series. I think it came out more than 10 years ago. And Enola is the little sister of Sherlock and Mycroft. And yeah, she's pretty rambunctious and very witty and smart, just like her big brother. So she tries to outwit him, and the whole thing is kind of starts with her mother's disappearance, and they all have to find her mother, but she decides she's going to go out and find her mother. So I'm halfway through that series, and to add on to the books, I had started Dune. I was really going to read this because the film was going to be released, and it is one of my son's favorite books, if not his favorite book, other than Lord of the Rings. And it's pretty dense. So I put off Dune and decided to do Enola Holmes and my cozy hauntings instead. And because they're going to, I guess they're not releasing Dune until now the fall of 2021 instead of this fall. So,
But did you see the trailer?
yes.
Yeah, it was very good, wasn't it?
Talk about trailers.
Yep.
Yeah, Emily and I talked about The Crown that's coming out. We can talk about that on the next QuaranTEEN talk. And the new Mandalorian will come out on October 30th, which is another trailer that I saw. So that was me for books. Television, I have my little notes on my tablet here. Matt and I discovered this really great series called Night on Earth on Netflix. And have you watched that?
I have.
Stunning, and you're transfixed. I'm not exaggerating. I cannot recommend it enough to anybody watching. They do like a low light photography or filming to capture animals in their natural habitats. And it's
fun.
Yeah, I don't really need to say much more other than I highly recommend watching it. It's really very nice. And then to go along with television and film, there's also I read a rumor that Benedict Cumberbatch is I know my son calls him Benefit Cucumber, but I can never say his name correctly. He is rumored to be playing Dracula because is going to continue doing all these remakes of these monster films, these old-fashioned monster films. But as I read more about it, it seems that Benedict is actually eyeing to play Renfield, Dracula's crazy assistant who's kind of locked away and is always there and does his bidding. So that we'll have to stay on top of. As far as staying inside, or getting outside after we've all been inside, I did get to go up and see my fall foliage. It was like our first trip out of the house, to do something beyond going to the library or the grocery store. I just started seeing my family again over the summer. I got to see my children, but we did that part of the Route 6 drive to see all of the foliage up north and saw the Pennsylvania Grand Canyon. So we were completely distanced. It was just us. There wasn't even cell service. It was so fantastic. And we stayed at a little Airbnb place and we were able to be outside and just the whole point is to say, even if you can't get outside to do the drive on Route 6, just go enjoy the foliage. We've all been stuck inside. Go out, in your own backyard and look at the reds and the yellows and the greens on the trees.
I believe, so we're recording this on October 19th, and I believe I have a map for peak pretty leaf season that it should be hitting us like this week into next week. So
yeah.
I think we're supposed to have nice weather too.
Yeah, so it might be a good time.
Be warm this week. Yeah.
Enjoy.
I saw dahlias growing in the backyard with the warmth. So the garden also kept us outside a lot rather than being in the house during quarantine. But now it's time to pull out the sewing machine and work on that again. Now that the cold weather's coming, I'm excited. But So that's what I have.
Thank you, Jess.
Mm-hmm.
Emily, would you like to go next?
Sure. All right. So I'm glad I'm going after Jess because I wanted to respond to a couple things. You immediately had my attention when you said Benedict Cumberbatch and then this cucumber name.
Yeah.
But that made me remember that. So over the summer, when, what's it called? The British Theatre Company, it's totally escaping me right now, but they put out a production of Frankenstein on YouTube, and Benedict Cumberbatch played both Frankenstein and Frankenstein's monster, and not in the same production. Like there were two different versions. That would be really there were two different versions and he played both of them, and I just thought that was amazing. So that made me think of it. I don't know if I guess you didn't get to see it, Jess, but
I did not. I was not aware. So I'll be hunting that one tonight. Yeah.
Oh yeah, amazing. So, okay, I recently finished, in terms of books, I read this, which is a sequel to a great graphic novel called, oh my gosh. Wait, is that the third one?
This is the third one.
I didn't even know there was a third. Amazing. Wow. Okay. So, well, you one-upped me, Emily. Congrats.
Tell us all about it.
So yeah, if anybody hasn't read the original, it's called The Witch Boy. And this series is really great with like diverse characters as well as like challenging gender norms and roles, which I think is super great. Would really recommend it if you like that sort of thing. Some other books I have next to me, I'm cheating a bit because I haven't actually read them yet, but I'm still excited that they exist, is Hocus Pocus.
Oh, wow.
Who knew it was a book, right?
We have a copy of it in the teen section of the library. So if you are a Hocus Pocus fan.
I think this might be it, or maybe this is from, yeah, this is your copy.
Oh, never mind.
And apparently it has a sequel too, which is what I'm really excited about. So hopefully I'll get a chance to read that. Something else that I noticed was on Netflix. I think it was just honestly released like a day or two ago. And it's from this book, Babysitter's Guide to Monster Hunting, which I've never read, but when it gets to like the spooky season, I just check out every book from the library that's like remotely spooky or scary. So yeah, those are all cool things. I love like, it's a similar thing with the Enola Holmes thing, Jess. Like when I see something on Netflix, it prompts me to then go like read the book so that I can read it before I watch on Netflix. So that's the plan with those. But also on Netflix, which it was pretty silly. I can't quite recommend this or say that it was excellent, but it was a silly thing on Netflix. It's an Adam Sandler movie called Hubie Halloween.
I've heard about it.
I haven't heard of that one.
It was something. It was very interesting. If you just are game for a laugh and in the spooky mood, it was a fun flick, I suppose. I'm also excited to watch. I haven't watched it yet, but The Witches is also on Netflix, based on the Roald Dahl book, which I loved growing up. So the last two things I would recommend, if you sort of like the spooky Halloween times, so there's a show on Netflix called, I think it's a few years old now, but it's called The Curious Creations of Christine McConnell. And she's kind of a Jane of all trades. She's, I think, a baker primarily. She bakes these amazing things, like truly spectacular. But she also makes her own clothes. And it's, I guess it's probably a show for kids. I tend to like things like that. But it's really, really enjoyable for adults as well. She has some like puppets on there, but there is a lot of like adult humor. And it's so spooky, and she like lives in this mansion, and it's like nothing I've ever seen before. So I would absolutely recommend that. Curious Creations of Christine McConnell. And then the second thing I discovered, I think last Halloween. So I was talking to somebody about this, but there's a special on YouTube that you can find called Halloween is Grinch Night. Like, we all associate the Grinch with Christmas, right?
Yeah.
But there is a Halloween Grinch special, and it is absolutely worth watching. It is so bizarre and strange and spooky. I think it's only like 20 minutes or something on YouTube. So yeah, if you
Animated?
Yeah, animated. Yep. It's very old timey. It's from like animation wise, you know, I think it looks like it was made, I don't know, like, I'm bad with time, but like a while ago. So yeah, that's kind of what things that I've been working on / that this time of year makes me think of, and things I want to revisit.
Mhm. And you know, I'm going to interrupt real quick. And also on Netflix, did you see Bly Manor is on there,
Yes.
based on the turn of the screw. So
Yeah.
And for people watching out there, so if you had started watching, it's kind of almost a second season to The Haunting of Hill House that came out 2 years ago. But The Haunting of Bly Manor is much less scary. So
Okay.
if you like pretty mild scares, there aren't a lot of jump scares, you could probably watch this one. There's a lot more like mental stuff, I think, than like ghosts creeping in the back, you know. So it's still scary. It's not like it's not a horror show.
Mhm.
But especially if you have read The Turn of the Screw,
Mhm.
I think that you won't be too scared of Bly Manor.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Emily. That was all really great. So next we're going to have Theo share. So Theo is one of our youngest staff members at Frederickson. Theo, I believe, are you a page? Is that what your official title is?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Theo mostly shelves books for us and things like that. And Theo is still a teenager, so we thought it would be fun to have an actual teenager on QuaranTEEN Talk.
But Theo
What a
is
novel idea.
and vote in his first election this year.
Yep.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
Today's the last day to register.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Put it out
mean,
there. For anybody
yeah.
watching.
My dad made me take a political call survey yesterday. And the lady I was talking to said she was so proud of me for voting. And I was like, wow, that's such
Look
like
at you
a,
go.
yeah. It was like, wow, thanks for the compliment, I guess. Yeah, I mean, so what I've been doing is looking forward to voting.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, I mean, I have been trying to get into some spooky books. I'm reading The Haunting of Hill House. And I'm reading the audiobook to it. I didn't want to, it's been on my shelf for so long. It's been on my shelf for like, I think like a year and a half. And I didn't want to get into it because of like, it's 1,000 pages long and the audiobook's like 48 hours. And I'm like, this is
Oh my
fun. So, I mean, so I've just been listening to it because I don't want to, it's so, I don't even know what the word is. It's such a big book. I don't actually want to pick it up.
Yeah.
It's intimidating.
It is. It really is.
Kind of like Dune.
Yeah, honestly. It's like when you were saying that, I was like, yeah, I get that. I also wanted to read Dune, but you know, I don't like Timothée Chalamet that much. And I ffeel so bad because I don't usually watch TV, so I like don't have anything that I'm watching, but well, I mean, I am watching this one YouTube channel. She's called Haley Blay, and she's a singer and a songwriter, but this October she's doing this thing called Video Every Day in October where she's doing like vlog fall things. It's really nice. She's like redecorating her house. She's like cooking meals. It's just something I like. I like watching people do stuff around
Me
their
too.
house. Yeah, so like, you know, you're not alone, Deanne.
Thank you.
Relaxing. It's relaxing to see kind of like
Yeah.
soothing everyday routines.
Honestly, it's like, you know, it's something I can do when I'm doing homework. And I've been listening to a lot of podcasts. I have, a lot of time when I'm shelving to be listening to things. I'm listening to this podcast You're Wrong About, which Emily actually recommended to me. I've been obsessed with it. Like, I can't stress this enough. I love it so much. It's like it itches this like particular part of my brain that likes being indignant about how right I am. So, and if anybody like mentions Coco the gorilla now, I'm like, well, actually, she didn't know
there's a lot
sign
of
language.
to say about that.
Exactly. It's like I'm completely ruining Thanksgiving dinner here. Listen to me rant about Coco the gorilla for an hour and a half. So I love that. If you also like being right about things, you should definitely listen to that. And I've also been listening to, I think it's called Lit Century. I think it's pretty new, but they do sort of like reviews and they contextualize books based on like a year. So like I think it's the book that they're doing now is called Nightwood in 1936. And that's been really interesting. I've also been listening to One from the Vaults, which is this like podcast about trans history. It's got the latest one I listened to was about Holly Woodlawn, which is like one of Andy Warhol's muses. I like that. Maybe not like Andy Warhol so much, which is like, it is what it is though. I'm now obsessed with Holly Woodlawn, which is, fine. I get a new person to be obsessed with. And yeah, I mean, I'm also watching a lot of Rob Zombie movies. I've been trying to.
Oh, wow, you're brave.
I know. I'm always at like 8 p.m. I'm like, I'm gonna turn on a Rob Zombie movie. I get spooked. I can't sleep for like the whole night, but I keep doing it every single night. Yeah, so I mean, it's really gory.
Mm-hmm.
So if some people, I know some people don't like gore that much, or scary people. So if you're not into that, I understatement of the year, but I would not recommend. But it is like very. If you like being stupid and watching horror movies alone, I think it's awesome, but yeah, I mean, that's what I've been doing. Yeah.
Great. Thank you for sharing, Theo.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So I want to start with kind of piggybacking off of Theo with, what was that podcast about trans history that you said?
One from the Vault.
One from the Vault. So there's another podcast called History is Gay that I think if anybody was interested in the podcast Theo talked about or is interested in history in general, it's great. It's two historians and they go through and they talk about famous people from history and their romantic relationships. Their one on Oscar Wilde is obviously great. They've got all kinds of people. They have I think they've got a couple episodes about Sappho, like just good stuff, and all their works are cited, which is always something that I appreciate in a podcast for them to tell me where they got their information. But anyway, moving on, piggybacking now off of Emily, because I guess I'm just gonna copy everyone else. So Emily showed us The Hidden Witch, which was the second in the series, and I'm showing you The Midwinter Witch, which is the third one in the series. So it continues the story of these characters, and it's just a really fun way of looking at magic. So like a lot of us, like I love fantasy stories with like magic and witches and shapeshifters. Like it's really fun to imagine that world existing. And like this book is a lot about blood family and found family and learning how to use the gifts you were given in the ways that you want and that can best benefit you and your community. Which I guess that kind of makes it sound boring, but there's also a lot of like magic fights in the competition and somebody gets crowned the Midwinter Witch. So there's a fun little ceremony and stuff. So that one's pretty great. And now I'm gonna share my screen. Here we go. Okay. So the first thing I want to share with you guys is an amazing show called Over the Garden Wall. So this is an animated show. Elijah Wood does one of the main voices in it, and it came out a couple years ago, maybe almost a decade ago, but it's really short. The episodes are only like 10 minutes long, and so I think overall it's about an hour and a half. And it's just kind of like a bunch of like short spooky stories about these two brothers on Halloween night. And it's a lot of fun. It's really beautifully done. It has excellent music. You can see some of the images from it here. You can see the art is gorgeous. I literally watch it every year, every October, because it just gets you in that perfect spooky mood. But it's not too scary. Like there's nothing that's going to give you nightmares in this. It's perfect to watch with your whole family. Like you can watch it with your mom, you can watch it with your baby brother. Like nobody's going to be too spooked out.
Unlike Rob Zombie movies.
Yeah. I mean, I also really like Over the Garden Wall. So
I've never seen this.
Where can we watch this, Emily?
I believe right now it's on Hulu. There's also comics that go along with it. I know we have some of the comics available in the library system. I actually have not read any of the comics, so I'm not sure how they compare. They came after the show, but the show is excellent. The next thing I want to share. So I love watching YouTube videos. I don't know if anybody has watched Binging with Babish, but he does recreations of like movie and TV food. And I've loved him for a while. And he recently brought on Sola, who you might remember from Bon Appetit. I think I might have talked about some of her videos at the beginning of the summer, but now she's moved over to Babish's channel, where they try to stump her. So she is an amazing cook. She can do so many crazy, wild things that like, as a non-cook, my brain couldn't even come up with. So what they do is they have a challenge for her, and then they have a big wheel that they spin for how to make it harder. So for this one that I have up right here, the challenge was to make a 7-course meal. They spun the wheel. It said to make it out of convenience store food. So she had to go basically to like her local convenience store and get all her ingredients there and make all of a 7-course meal from it. So like she did all kinds of wild fancy things, and it's very, very fun to watch. So they come out with new episodes, I think every week. They did one where she had to make mac and cheese like it was the 1700s, with like just using their tools. And I'm not sure what else they've done yet, but if you're looking for something that's like kind of funny, kind of relaxing, maybe learn a little bit of something about cooking, I don't know. Definitely recommend Stump Sola on the Binging with Babish channel. Next is a book. So I haven't finished this one yet. I've started the audiobook for this. It's called Slay by Brittany Morris. And it's about a girl who she has created this multiplayer online role-playing game. And then there's drama. So like I said, I'm not very far into it yet. I'm still at kind of the, I think I'm like 2 or 3 chapters in, but so far the audiobook is excellent. The person reading it is doing an amazing job, and I cannot wait to see what happens to Kira as she continues on this journey. So definitely recommend that one. And then I have another book. So this one, some of you out there watching might have come to some of our teen book clubs. So every Thursday night, we always have some kind of Zoom program for teens where you can come hang out and talk. And sometimes we have plot twisters where we talk about writing. Sometimes we have book club where we talk about books. And in book club, sometimes we listen to books. So we've been listening to this one, Toil and Trouble, 15 Tales of Women in Witchcraft. And it has been so good. So far, we've listened to 2 of the stories, and they both just blew me away with the talent of the writing and just like how much they covered in just like a half-hour story. It was really great. So we'll probably be listening to some more of that over the fall. We are having another book club this Thursday night, October 22nd, and Miss Jess is going to be a special guest there too. And she's going to tell us about some other witchy things. So if you are interested in that kind of thing, you can sign up on our website or email me and I'll get you the link. And then I think there was one more thing I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, I just want to talk about Haunting of Hill House slash Bly Manor. I just watched them both like in the last week. That's what I've been binging. And they're really fun. Hill House is pretty scary, so if you are not a person who can do scary, I'd say hold off on that one. But Bly Manor, I think, is not too scary. If you can handle, most scary things, I think you'll be okay. But it's a fun way of taking these older stories, because both Hill House and Bly Manor were they're very loosely based on books, kind of, I guess, classic books. And it's an interesting way to kind of reframe it. Like Bly Manor is based on Henry James. He wrote a lot of short stories and books, and it takes that, which I think most of his stuff was set in the 1880s, and it takes it and moves it to the 1980s. So it's just fun to have kind of that that way of looking at it.
Yeah. I'm probably going to start that tonight, actually, on my tablet. I'm going to crawl into bed and watch with my earphones. And I forgot, too, that they made a Netflix film out of Shirley Jackson's other novel, We Have Always Lived in the Castle. It's pretty good. They did a pretty good job with it. It's not spooky with ghosts and such, but it's pretty dark. So that's another one to definitely watch.
Good
for Halloween season.
And I believe that book is also in the library. I don't think the Shirley Jackson stuff is in the teen section, but there is
all adult.
Yeah, but I don't think there's anything explicit in it. So like if you're the kind of person, like if you've read Stephen King, you're fine with Shirley Jackson. You're not going to be.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And We Have Always Lived in the Castle was kind of based on a young teenage girl and her life and her very peculiar home life and habits. So it's a little spooky, though. It is. Maybe for older teens. It's better for older teens.
So if there's anything that you want us to talk about here on QuaranTEEN Talk, we're hoping to do this again sometime soon. We'd love to answer any questions you have. We'd love to recommend books or movies or TV shows to you. We'd love to hear from you. So feel free to leave a comment, or as always, you can email me. And we hope we'll see you around the library soon. So thank you everyone for being here with us tonight. We'll see you around the library.
Bye, everybody.